public.
That recording? I'm recording.
Oh, recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dave, we need Dennis louder.
The group got together and wrote a very extensive course to teach diving to the public. The course addressed diving in Northern California, which is some of the most challenging in the world, short of the North Sea. So they got together and they had some meetings and started deciding how to come up with a name. And there was a list of names presented at the September 1956 meeting. And the list of names were Aqua Adventures, Aqua Vaders, Scuba Cats, Reef Fellows, Sea Serpents, Hayward's Crawdads, Aquatutus, Aqua Ventures, Aqua Guides, and after some time, Aquatutus was the name that was chosen. Aquatutus, everybody pretty much knows aqua is water. Tutus is Latin for training, education. So if you translate it to our benefit, it comes to water training, water education. So it kind of fits, and that was, as I said, that was the predication of the club, what started it. So in 1960, my mother had a friend whose son-in-law was involved in a dive club, and they were offering a class. And I found out about it and said, I'll do that. So in 1960, I took the Aquatutus class, which was 18 weeks long, 2 nights a week, consisted of an hour of lecture, went in depth into diving physiology, laws and principles, a whole gamut of material related to skin and scuba diving. The first half of the class was predicated on skin diving. So during the first half of the class, the group had capable, competent skin divers. And then we moved into scuba, which was a piece of cake at that, having been a reasonably competent free diver by that point. In 1960, when I took the class, and for a few years after that, harassment was part of the class. And I was a young fella, and I think the instructors felt they needed to harass me extra because I was constantly replacing my mask that seemed to fall off, the fin that came off, and my tank that got turned off. And they only understood how to turn the tank off. It never got turned back on. That was your problem. So anyway, it was a very in-depth course. Capable people coming out of that course were probably beyond where today's rescue diver is. During the course, we worked on rescue stuff and helping divers, and it isn't spent well covered even in that specialty. So anyway, I kind of got hooked up on diving. At that time, Aquatutus, LA County, Recreational, and YMC were the only in California that were teaching skin and scuba diving. Patty, Nowing, etc. did not come into existence until the early 70s. But anyway, so I took the class and got my credentials to be a diver and continued to actively dive with the club. And I helped out with the 1961, 1962, 1963 class. And they felt I was pretty good. And they said, you know what, we're going to make an Aquatutus instructor. So in 1963, I became an Aquatutus instructor. And if you look in, that actually puts me in the record book for youngest scuba instructor because I was 17 years old at the time. Did I know anything? We'll leave that open for discussion. But anyway, I had the rating. As I said, the training agencies, Patty Nowie and an NASDA, National Association of Dive Shops, came to be in the early 70s. The National Association of Dive Shops had a kind of a thing like against dive clubs. So all the area dive clubs and I guess throughout the states boycotted the NASDS shops, and they decided maybe we don't want to pursue this. So they kind of backed off on that, but it ultimately became SSI. So SSI's roots are from the NASDS, National Association of Dive Shops. So as things progressed, I helped out with the class through the years. In the 1970 through 75 era, our classes, we were running 80, 90 students in our classes. We were using Chabot College pool that had large classes. And we would go for our first skin dive, we would go to Lover's Cove and inundate the dive or the beach area. So that's when they came up with a city ordinance that no divers on the beach. So anyway, but we had good turnouts. We had good club participation. So in that later on in the mid-70s or there, aquaculturist divers were starting to travel and go places and found out that the aquaculturist certification was not being recognized. So with that opportunity, we talked about and said it was time to affiliate with a national recognized organization. Jim Steele set up the opportunity for aquaculturist instructors to go to Monterey for the weekend and do a weekend training session to become PADI instructors. So in 1975, 13 of us went to Monterey for the weekend and got credentialed to become PADI instructors. So that's how aquaculturist affiliated with PADI. Actually, we were approached by PADI earlier on to become them because they were looking to generate numbers. And if you, for what it's worth, PADI was formed by Ralph Erickson, who wrote The New Science of Skinny Scuba Diver, which is what aquaculturists use for its manual, and Drew Richardson got together in Boston at a bar and on a cocktail napkin came up with the PADI and implemented it. And it was good. They had a format, they had structure. It was in its early days, it was a great organization. And it had some standardization. And again, the certification was being recognized worldwide. So a diver could go somewhere and show them the aquaculturist and said, this was hard to get. And they go, yeah, but we don't recognize it. Well, here's a PADI card. Oh, that's great. So we continued to aquaculturists continued to do open water classes through 1992, 4. And it got to the point where the numbers weren't there to do classes, the cost was going up, pool availability, and people were coming to the point they did not want to spend the 12 weeks. We did consolidate the class down to 12 weeks, but they go, I don't want to spend 12 weeks doing this. I can go over here to the shop and do it in 2 weeks. So anyway, so in 1994 was our last open water class. We did continue to do advanced open water, Last November, we did a rescue diver program. Opportunities did a rescue diver program. So in 1993, I had the opportunity to do some training with INDD, International Association of Nitrox Divers, which was formed by Dick Rotowski and Tom Mott. And Dick Rotowski was retired from NOAA and developed and worked and formatted the enriched air diving program for NOAA. So he brought that in with Tom Mott. They formed INTD with the purpose of teaching enriched air diving to the diving public. Prior to that, it wasn't available. So I had the opportunity to become an INTD instructor for the purpose of teaching enriched air. Not only did they teach enriched air, they put together programs to teach technical diving, more advanced diving with required decompression and so forth. So after completing my enriched air instructor, I took some INTD classes on technical diving, non-recreational, and ultimately moved up through the ranks as instructor in technical diving and ultimately instructor trainer. So, and I've spent a lot of time trying to gather information on physiology of what's going on when we're doing diving in general and even into diving with required decompression. Every dive is a decompression dive. If we submerge, we compress. If we come up, we decompress. May not have required decompression stop, but it is a decompression dive. There's two ways not to do a decompression dive, and neither one of them is viable. One, don't dive, and don't come up. Neither one's a good option. Although at some point in my time, I will do my last dive, and it will be a decompression dive. No decompression dive, because my remains will go in the reef bowl in Florida. Okay. So we're going to spend some time talking about what the different agencies have to offer in the way of training. But before I do that, I'm going to help the opportunist membership understand how fortunate they are. Within the club, there is a very large number of very capable, competent divers that will go diving, that do go diving. A diver needs to get the training and then go diving, get that comfort level. You know, as I said, when I learned to dive, it was a very long, extensive course. Today, the course is short, and people are making the transition from land to water. One of the things I learned in my training was all of my equipment goes on before I get in the water. And when I get out of the water, high and dry, that's when something comes off, not before. Aquaturist class was predicated on Northern California diving, surf, rocks, cold water, padding, and a lot of the agencies, their courses are structured to be worldwide, and a lot of them, majority of them are done in ideal conditions, warm water, clear water. So anyway, I still advocate putting all your gear on, get in the water, get out, or high and dry before you start removing equipment. Many times I've seen people, particularly on a boat dive, come up to the side of the boat and take their mask off, and before they get to the boat or get on, they've dropped their mask. why don't we leave it on our face? So when we get splashed or whatever, that salty water doesn't get in your eyes. Anyway, Aquatours members, go on club dives. Go diving. Walk those dives. Get that experience. Get that comfort level. Get that repetition. And on any dive, you can work on navigation. You can work on buoyancy. You can work on equipment, mass removal, replacement. A lot of things you can work on for comfort level and a skill development. Comfort level. As I said, I went through this for 18 weeks, time and time again during my training. The divers today are not getting it. Please take advantage of being a club member. Come on, dive. Somebody will go diving and say, hey, on this dive, I want to work on my buoyancy. On this dive, I want to, I'm going to replace my mask a couple of times. So anyway, the opportunity is there. Okay. Hey, if anybody has any questions at any time, don't hesitate to say, hey, what about?
Yes, one question is, why was the training done at Lovers Cove as opposed to Breakwater?
Okay, the question was, why was the training done at Lovers Cove? Okay, the first 2 dives were skin dives. And the first of the 2 skin dives would be at Lovers Cove because it had nice entry exit, and you can go to the left or right, practice your rock landings. So, and also you learn to do the kelp crawl. You put your snorkel in your mouth and you literally crawl across the kelp. And contrary to belief, it does not attack you. You can crawl through it. So that was part of the reason. Thank you for the good question. The second skin dive was at Fitzgerald Marine Reserve in Moss Beach, which is a very relatively challenging place to dive. It's got waves. I have people in the room here who've been there, done that, or just, okay. You can have waves coming from 2 directions at once. So you're looking at the wave coming at you and you get smacked by the one on those coming from your left or your right. So it was a great dive experience. And the skin dives would last for 1.5 hours, 2 hours. They weren't just puddle jumps. They would go out and do serious diving. If anybody's interested, we do a club dive once a year, a snorkel, free dive from McAfee back to San Carlos or something. There's an opportunity to spend some time free diving and maybe learn some free diving, some skin diving skills. Okay. Again, take advantage of the opportunity as being a club member. Okay, so what I'd like to do is, Patty, please. Dave's going to put up.
I can't see. I need to see the screen.
Dave's going to bring up on the screen the list of some of the courses offered by Patty, and I'm only going to address the recreational type that I feel are beneficial to the recreational diver. Patty has moved on to
Hold on. Okay, I'm having trouble here.
Recreational, but their programs aren't what I think they should be, but I have to be careful what I say. So INTD's more advanced diving are very good programs, and I do teach those, as I said. So
Why is this not
so
doing
the
it?
list of
I don't know if they can see it.
okay, for Patty, typically it has
Hold on a second.
Oh, okay, we got it. So we have open water, advanced open water, rescue diver, emergency first aid, peak performance buoyancy, spends time working on your buoyancy control through the dive during your safety stop. It's a specialty course that is is a good course. But again, opportunist members have that opportunity to go diving on a club dive and say, let's work on my buoyancy. Give me some pointers. But there's that option to perform. Underwater navigator. That's especially spent a lot of time on navigating underwater from point to point. And someday we got to do the circuit at, we have to do the circuit at San Carlos Beach that goes up and has, I think, about 6 points on the route. And it's an interesting. So anyway, underwater navigator, drift diver, no, excuse me, it's something. It's a course that Patty offers. Is it, as I said, a lot of divers that go through their training, their basic training in open water, and they don't have the opportunity to go dive with a club with other people. So they start taking these classes. And for Patty, I'll be honest, they're money makers. So anyway, underwater drift, altitude. Altitude, diving at altitude. You need, before one dives at altitude, you need to spend some time understanding the effects, the physiology of diving at altitude. What's happening is you're starting at less than 1 atmosphere and returning to less than 1 atmosphere. Dive tables, everything are predicated on sea level. So you have to factor in the fact that you are starting at and ending at less than 1 atmosphere. So as an example, if you're diving in Lake Tahoe at just over 6,000 feet, your safety stop is done at 12 feet, not 15, because of the pressure you're returning to. So that's just one of the things that, okay, night diver, yeah, well, sun goes down, we go diving. The equipment, a couple extra 2 lights, you need maybe a beacon somewhere. So some of the things that need to be looked at for night diving. Deep, I'm not gonna promote that at all. Dry suit, if an individual is looking to just move into diving a dry suit, there's some things that need to be looked at and understand the ramifications of diving with a dry suit. Buoyancy, weight, air movement within the suit, proper inflation of the suit. There's some things that need to be done. Boat diver, yeah, fall off the boat and go diving. There's a little more to it than that. And it makes it very difficult on the captain when he's trying to maneuver back to the group and somebody starts swimming towards the boat. If you're boat diving, don't ever swim to the boat unless you get a signal that says to come to the boat. Because that captain's maneuvering that boat to the group, and all of a sudden he's got somebody out there chasing his propeller, and he doesn't want his propeller damaged because he to get the group back. Okay, so there is some things about boat diving that are unique that need to be addressed. There used to be advocated multi-level. This is before dive computers, when you manage your dive by staging it and going up instead of staying at the depth. Today, watch your dive computer. Time starts running out, move up a little bit. You find out you get more time. Okay. So that's kind of archaic. Dive master, especially wreck diver. That's just wreck diver, just surveying a wreck, looking at it, scoping it out. It's not penetrating. Penetrating a wreck is a whole different level. Diving against debris. Hey, anytime you're on a dive, you see debris, pick it up. Unless it's your buddy, then. But anyway, no. So that's not a, to say it's especially. Underwater naturalist. There's a lot of books and materials and stuff out there to look at to say, fish ID, coral, marine life. it's kind of a personal thing, but there is a class. Master, that's just a bunch of dives. Underwater photographer. I don't teach, don't have the ability to teach any underwater photography. But if you're interested in photography, there are classes, and but again, there's material available. What camera do you want? You want to spend a little money, you want to spend a lot of money, you want to spend a whole lot of money. And then you have to remember to bring all the pieces for the camera with you, not leave part of them at home when he's not listening. Okay, any questions on that? Anybody want anything expanded on? If not, let's jump over.
Actually, Dennis, of those classes, which would be like the ones, if you could pick like the top 2 or 3 classes after you've gotten maybe advanced open water, what would be the top 3 that you would think of if you wanted to go for? So the question is if like what for Dennis, what would be the top 2 or 3 of those courses to look at if you wanted to get additional certification after advanced open water?
Okay, one would be work on our buoyancy, work on our navigation. If you have any interest in diving at altitude, I certainly say do that. If you're going to go into a dry suit, that's pretty much what I would, say to look at. Or come to a club meeting and say, hey, for the next club dive, I'd like to work on this one. And that's always a possibility. So I'm not, okay. So I'm going to move on and go into,
sort of unrelated, kind of related. You said that rec specialty is not penetration diving. Where do you go to learn rec penetration diving?
okay, the question was, the PADI rec is non-penetration. Where does one go to learn rec penetration? Good question. Rec penetration is very similar to cave diving. So my answer to that is you would look at maybe cave diving, special or training, and apply that to wreck diving. To my knowledge, there is no specific wreck penetration per se. What has happened is wreck penetration has picked up a lot of the stuff that's used in cave diving and applied it to wrecks, and basically looking at them as a steel cave. So I don't
So where does one go for cave diving instruction?
Okay, for cave diving instruction, the Yucatan Peninsula does a lot of cave diving. Some of it is done in northern Florida. I cannot specifically give you go here.
Is there a certifying organization for that, or you just go to people who are knowledgeable?
Okay, the question was, is there an agency? Yes, INTD teaches cave diving. There's also, Neil can.
My comment on that for you. There are several. There's the Mexican version of CMAS. There is, as Dennis said, INTD. There is the NSS CDS. There are TDI does it. That's the technical arm of SDI. I think there are several others. It's more a matter of finding an instructor. In terms of where you go, just like the wrecks, if you want to know about wrecks, go somewhere where there are wrecks. We don't have any really, not unless you go down to Southern California. If you want to do caves, you got to go to Florida and or Mexico.
Thank you.
Or places in Europe, actually.
Okay, I did my cave dive training with INTD in northern Florida, so that's where I did mine. I'm not saying that that's the word. Okay, so if I can get,
So Arnie has a question.
Arnie,
I just wanted to point out that at one time in my career, I was teaching a rec penetration course. It was through an agency called UDT, who you know very well. The agency is folded, but if you're interested in learning those kinds of advanced diving skills, get in contact with the technical diving agencies. Two have been mentioned so far, IANTD and TDI, and put the question to them. They'll undoubtedly figure out a way to link you up with an instructor who can help you out.
okay,
Cool, thank you.
all right. So if I can.
And I will point out that if you're interested in technical diving, you can start with Dennis. He doesn't do caves and wreck as such, but he does do the introduction to technical diving.
What do you want to share next? Is it
IANTD.
INTD? Okay.
Okay, so
Hold on.
so we're gonna see there's some overlap here, blah, 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 blah. One that comes up in INTD here, and I put this in INTD. Patty also has one, but I'm not able to teach that. I can teach INT format, self-sufficient diver. The advantage of that is it gets an individual thinking about taking care of themselves. So it's everything in place. What do I do if this happens, if that happens? It's not intended for solo diving per se, but to make one more self-sufficient, capable of taking care of yourself. You never know when something might happen, and okay, it's an inconvenience. It's not life-threatening. Most likely, it's an inconvenience, so deal with it. So that's what the self-sufficient and awareness, taking care of things, how to configure your equipment to better manage being self-sufficient. Personally, I never dive if I cannot reach my valve wheel. If a regulator starts flowing, I can reach back and close the valve. Take the BCD off, put it in front of me, and I can have done a dive that way. So that's just something to, being self-sufficient. Okay, what else do we have? Drift, wall. If you're gonna dive, the thing about diving a wall is be aware of your depth. People dive in the wall, and next you know they're down there at 150, 160, 70, 90, 200. What wall can easily lose track of the depth. So what else we got here? Deep dive. Okay, dive propulsion vehicle. We have people in the club who have purchased and have dive propulsion vehicles, underwater scooters. There's some things one needs to consider when using those. It's amazing how far you can go. One of my first times using an underwater scooter, I thought, okay, I'll just go out here for a little bit, and I came up, and the boat was a little tiny spot out in the distance. I go, holy mackerel! So then I thought, okay, I took a compass course, headed back to the boat for a little while, came up, and the boat's now behind me, and still a small spot. Cover a lot of ground. And then you never know when it might decide, you know what, I'm done for the day, I'm parking. And you don't know how far you might be from the boat or wherever. So there's some things, it's not real straightforward, dive propulsion. Decompression specialists understanding, learning how to plan and do decompression dive. Search and recovery, you want to go looking for something? How do I search for it? After I find it, how do I bring it up? Lift bag. So there's that's kind of a lengthy process to go through a complete search and recovery training. So, okay. Wreck diver, again, this is a non-penetration, it's surveying and wreck. But as Neil and I already alluded to, there are ways of pursuing getting training to do wreck penetration. This is something I will advocate one of this training for diving caves, diving a steel cave, a wreck. If you're going to penetrate it, you need proper training. Anytime you can't go straight up, it's an overhead environment. Dive in a cave, dive in a wreck, the overhead environment. There's things that need to be in place, thought about, and understand.
So so a good segue for that, I think actually is the advanced enriched air class, and then the difference between that and the decompression specialist.
Okay, the question, advanced enriched air ventures just a little bit beyond recreational diving. It starts understanding, planning, and doing dives with required decompression. That's a stop, a required stop, not a safety stop, but a required decompression stop. So there's some dive planning, equipment, additional equipment configuration. This is where one jumps from straight recreational diving to entry level technical diving. You're diving an overhead environment with a required decompression stop. And that answered.
Yeah,
Okay.
for advanced enriched air, and then how's that different from decompression specialist?
Stop,
Dennis.
Yeah. Got him.
You did. The question was, what's the difference between advanced enriched air and decompression specialist? And my answer was, I don't know. It's a course there, and I've not taught it. I can teach it, but I'd have to research it. In a way, advanced enriched air, and then from there you advance into more technical diving, deeper. Advanced enriched air has a depth limit of 140 feet. Then as you go in deeper, also deep air is diving air to maximum depth, 140 feet, with required decompression stop. Decompression specialist, I'm just going to have to say it, understanding and able to do dives with required decompression. Okay, any more questions or anything on that? Okay, I'm going to do one more topic here. First of all, as a DAN member, you have access to a website and pull up
Let's see, what did I do with it? The
The-
Dan stuff?
no, it was the
Hold on.
learning.
Okay, hold on.
So as a DAN member, you have the ability to go to your website and see what courses are available for you to take. Not only there's courses, there's a lot of topics of interest that you can go through and learn. Decompression theory, prepared diver. When that one first came out, I did it and I found it very interesting. Again, it's kind of it's kind of the beginning of a
Here we go.
prepared diver. Well, okay. Prepared diver, breathing underwater isn't. Okay, so if you go to your DAN site, what you find is available courses, and this list will go on down. So that's just a screenshot. So when you log on and go to available, you'll see and these are not It says course overview, but it's not a true training course. There's no instructor required. You just go through, and someone I found very interesting. As I said, the prepared diver is a good one to go walk through. The other one was, and I don't know if it's this one or another one down there that goes into the development of dive tables from the beginning with Haldane's principle. Everybody knows Haldane's principle?
Anymore.
You can have the pressure at any given time with no ill consequences. In other words, you can dive to 33 feet in salt water, you can dive to 33 feet forever and come up to the surface with no consequences. That's been modified a little bit, but what's interesting, dive tables on all, the dive tables and all are still predicated on Haldane's principle with very minor adjustment. He had it pretty much right on. He's the one that worked on the decompression issues while they were building the Brooklyn Bridge, working in caissons under pressure. So if I can get you to pull up the Dan classes, we'll see what all they offer. So,
Dennis, for those classes, do you just have to be a Dan member and you automatically get access to all those?
yes, the question was, when you go to this go to your page and available, you see what's available. Those, for the most part, I don't go so far as all of them, but most of them are open to Dan members. There's no fee, there's no instructor requirement on it. It's just click on it and take care of it.
When I looked at it a day or two ago, it was like some of those were recorded sessions that you just listened to with an instructor there giving a lecture. When I looked at it a couple of days ago or so, I discovered that those courses that are through the Dan available, some of them mentioned that they're just like a recorded presentation of an instructor giving the class, and you can just watch that. So.
Okay, I didn't, for some reason, I don't have them all up here. These are training, basic life support, the first aid CPR class, hands-on. Well, there's e-learning part and then there's hands-on. It's a class. You never know when you might need to do first aid. You might be walking down the street, might be a family member. Statistically, most people who do first aid do it to a family member, not a stranger. Emergency oxygen for diving related injuries. That's where you have an O2 oxygen set up and a diver is suffering something, put them on oxygen. It's not going to hurt them. The other one is that sometimes it's good to have oxygen on hand so that after your 60th birthday, then you're feeling kind of, you can, it helps immensely. And
It does. Sitting there on the couch with them just sucking on the oxygen.
Diver first aid. What first aid can we do for the diver? Again, the prepared diver. There's also in that open list is one years in diving. The inert gas exchange. As I said, I've tried to spend a lot of time understanding what's happening as we dive. That inert gas, nitrogen, is being absorbed in the body. As we ascend, we have to off-gas it in a manner that does not generate unmanageable bubbles in our system. I say unmanageable because it is proven every dive is a decompression dive if you come up and there's bubbles. But we want to keep them where they're manageable. They go through the system and are discharged. Emergency planning for divers, what to do in case of an emergency, how to handle an emergency. I'll get those on there. Okay, any questions, anything I've covered? Have I used up most of my time or do I need to talk slower?
No, you're good.
Okay, good. All right, so those, I've kind of gone through some of the stuff I'm qualified to teach. No, let me say, I'm able to teach. I have
Certified to teach.
I have credentials, says I can teach it. How's that? So, and I've been doing this for, what, 2 years, 3 years. So thank you very much, and I hope I shed some light on things, et cetera.
That's Dennis. Any questions from Zoom?
Dr. Rick.
Okay, Helga's clapping, I think. Go ahead. Okay, not a question. And I don't see any questions in the room. So before we let Dennis go completely on the presentation, I do have a couple questions I want to throw out to the group. Actually, maybe 3 questions because there's still some time, and I think we're going to have a short-ish meeting. First question. So Dennis, you got certified in Aquatutus in 1960. And then you became an instructor soon after that, a couple of years, I think.
63.
Okay. And you have counted how many students that you have certified through either Aquatutus and Patty. We'll put those 2 together. So in the 40, 50, 60, 65 years-ish, how many, any guess as to how many students Dennis has certified?
200.
Okay, I'm hearing 1,000. And if you're on Zoom, go ahead, can we do the chat? And maybe people can go on chat and put in what the best guess is for how many classes, Aquatutus and Patty classes.
All classes or just basic open water?
Basic,
What?
basic.
Just basic open water, and none of the specialty classes. That's a good qualification.
Boy. Let's see.
Any in the room? Anyone want to guess? Arnie?
I'd guess about 5,000.
5,000? I wish you could have seen Dennis's reaction to that.
I'll toss out 600.
600 in the room? I'm gonna go, I think I was thinking about that earlier today. I'm gonna go 2,000. 2,000 students.
Good. Giuseppe's
Got-
still with you.
We got over 3,000 for Sophie here, 2,800. Okay. Last chance to guess. All right, Dennis, how many? Oh, that's gonna show everything, right? Okay. Let's just go on for the other ones.
Hang on, Dave.
Actually, let's just all lump them all together then.
Okay,
Yeah,
hold on.
just for all, not, again, for open water certification for all IINTD classes and certifications. How many now? Now I'm gonna up it to like 6,000, 5,000. Anyone else?
I do something besides
15.
teach.
Yeah, but it's a lot of years.
1,800.
1,800 a year? Okay. Okay, go ahead. Let's see what the number is.
Hold on. Let's see. Yeah.
Okay, and the grand total is.
What's up here? Oh, it's up here.
Right here.
810.
Oh, 810. I am surprised. I am really surprised.
I'm sorry, folks. I just don't.
You just look so tired.
That's it. Well, it's telling me that the number of people getting certified through Aquatutus has been declining through the years, because maybe I was thinking when we were Aquatutus was doing like,
So Helga was the
Helga
Helga was the closest.
Here's the numbers. but you're,
But here, these are the totals, right?
Yeah. Oh, Aquatutus, 191, Patty, 393, INTD. Dan. Okay.
but you can see down, we're up in high numbers versus.
Yeah. Can you scroll down, Dave, to see like the 70s? What it was for
I'm
Aquatutus?
still very impressed, Dennis.
So am I.
Yeah.
Can you put that on a graph?
So the eighties,
They all try harder.
the eighties and nineties were back. The eighties and nineties.
We'll only teach in warm water now. It's not gonna go out there and say.
Okay. Did everyone, well, did people enjoy that presentation? Is that something we should maybe do another, I don't know, couple years down the road or something?
Sure.
Yes.
So Jim, here's another question for Dennis, for the audience. How many dives have Dennis done in his lifetime?
Oh. I think we'll save that for another one. Okay, again, thanks Dennis for that presentation and for being willing to be volunteered. I'll put it that way.
Thank you, Dennis.
Okay, so in the room, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people in the room, Arnie. Helga, can you give a treasurer's report?
I'd be happy to. Currently, classes has $3,797.21. That has not changed. For our general fund, we have $3,380.06 for a total of $7,177.27. And I filed the tax returns, both federal and state, and I filed with the Attorney General's office, our RF1 and CTTR1 forms. So we're kosher.
Cool.
We're up to date.
Thank you.
Our nonprofit filings.
Let's see, Dennis, do a training report? Anything to report for training?
Yeah, damn Derek trainer didn't live up to expectations. No, not trying harder. So, if anybody has any questions on anything, don't hesitate to send me an email, or if you want to see something, or please, come diving and go diving. I can't overstress the importance of just logging those dives.
Thanks.
Oh, 19.
Yeah. You mean for the training upcoming? Yeah. Let's see, Debbie, can you give a membership report?
Numbers are the same as last month. The numbers are the same as last month, which was 53 regular, 8 associate, 6 life, and 67 total. I can never tell if he's got it.
Good, Arnie?
Yes,
Perfect.
David, do you do an entertainment program?
Thanks, Jim. So most of these are not yet on the website. So, but we do have an exciting slate of entertainment options coming up. Firstly, thank you again to Dennis for stepping up at the last minute here and bailing us out. And Jim, thank you for strong arming Dennis. So next month, we're going to have Mike Boom, who is a local acclaimed videographer and photographer, who's going to be showing us his presentation on the faces of Philippines. And this could be a interesting preview.
Philippines or Indonesia?
He says Philippines, even though his email title is
okay.
Yeah, so the photos he sent were of Philippines. So yeah, so we'll be updating this on the website. Mike does say that he has shot most of his videos in 4K resolution, so you'll want to be here in person to get the best video quality. And our IT guru Dave will do his best to accommodate his very special requests for that. But this is very exciting and could be a good preview if you're looking to go on the trip to the Philippines next year in June and get a sense of what it is that you might be able to see. And then after that, we'll have a Randall Spangler coming up in August to
September.
sorry, that's September, right? So for August, then what do we have?
August is Mike Boom.
Right. Thank you. That's good to know because I have my
Already July.
yeah. So my months are all messed up. Yeah. So Mike Boom in August, and then Randall Spangler in September, talking about how to forecast oceanic conditions for looking at dive models and things like that. So that's going to be a very special one. And then in October, we're slated to have shark stewards talking about sharks. So that's going to be exciting as well. And then finally in November, we'll have our own Oliver Edwards doing his DPV show and tell, just talking about the various dive members that are doing DPV dives and how you can get involved with that. And then December, we're going to have just our holiday party, so no general meeting. But I also want to throw out that I think in about a week and a half, there's a special get together for doing SMBs. Maybe Jim or Dennis or Patty can talk a little bit more about that.
I'll talk about that when we do the upcoming events. Got that on the calendar for that. I think, let's see, I would go to entertainment, newsletter or communications, but neither one of those officers are here to talk about it, so we'll skip that section. Next on the list is old business. Don't think we have any old business from what I could see from the minutes from last meeting. So unless I've forgotten something and I don't see anybody raising their hand to remind me about any old business, we could go into new business. Does anyone have anything to discuss for new business? Okay, I'm not saying anything. I have something, and that is that I volunteered to work on the club website with Oliver and Derek. So part of that will be doing SEO, search engine optimization, hopefully to make the club website more findable on the web for people who are looking for dive clubs, for dive partners, etc. I know a little bit about SEO, at least what I can recall from 7 or 8 years ago when I was doing copywriting for hire, but I don't have anything, more recent than that. So if there is anybody who has SEO experience or website design experience and would like to help out in redesigning the club's website, we're planning to still stay on Club Express, our current platform, but the structure and the design of the website we're looking to update and so forth. So does anyone have any experience in that? If you do and you don't want to share it in public, send me and Oliver and Derek an email, and we'd greatly appreciate having some additional hands there. So this would be there's a few months ago I ended the meeting a little abruptly and neglected to ask if there was any questions, comments, or concerns, as I like to say, from club members. I think now this new business would be a better time to do that than just before I end the meeting. So I'm going to start putting that in. If there's any comments, questions, or concerns you have about the club, new business is the time to talk about it. Now that I've thrown it out, I'm still seeing a dearth of hands going up, so I'll assume no one's got any comments, questions, or concerns, and I'm not seeing anything on Zoom. Okay, we'll go on. Upcoming activities. So this is based off the club's calendar, our website calendar. We've got on the 17th Board of Directors meeting, that's as always a Zoom meeting. There'll be an in-person gathering on the 19th. This is what David was just talking about at Dennis's and Patty's home to talk about I'm gonna say surface marker buoys, SMBs, and DSMBs, I think, are deployed or delayed surface marker buoys. So that's deploying a marker underwater. This is becoming something that's pretty common now for boats, dive boats that they want to have that. It's a great way to let the boat know where you are before you come to an ascent. Dennis, do you want to talk anything about that and the rest of the activities for that day?
Yeah, the submersible marker buoy for training is only required to deploy it on the surface if that's ever done. I'm seeing, as Jim was alluding to, more and more dive operators are requiring their divers, particularly on boats, to have an SMB and a reel. As yet, they're not saying we have to be able to use them. They're making an assumption. They're not quite as easy to deploy underwater as one might think. So the purpose of this July 19th meeting is to look at the options, what's out there, what might be best suited for you, and talk about storing it, deploying it, and going through the verbal part. And I'll even demonstrate how to do it, but I can't do it because I'm not in the water. The following Saturday, the 26th, is the club dive. And the focus of that club dive is underwater deployment of a surface marker buoy. And do it once, do it twice, do it 3 times. I cannot overemphasize the importance of learning to do it in a non-required situation. The other one is most of the time, boat dives are done in boat traffic area. It's prudent to send a marker buoy up rather than just pop up just in time to see that boat that ran over you. Okay, so there's some prudence. And I could see in the near future, particularly boat saying, we have to see proof that you can deploy that marker. Either do a first dive and you do it, or show me that piece of paper says you're certified to do it. I see that coming. I spend a lot of time talking about the incidents I've seen, and in a way I'm lucky to be able to stand here and talk about having watched people deploy markers, deploy lift bags for the first time. I'm damn near drowned watching them, because when you start laughing really hard, so being somewhat facetious, but somewhat actual. So please.
Thanks, Dennis. Let's see, after that, yeah, as Dennis said, there'll be the club dive. Right now, Oliver's planned as point of contact. I'm not sure that'll continue. There may be a change in that, but that's where we've got the schedule for. And then again, I'll just Mike Bohm he sent an email to me as club president a 3 weeks ago, offering that. Mike has presented in person here at the club before COVID. And so, we didn't have Zoom. And his photography is exceptional. He does macro underwater videography that is unbelievable. So he has really worked hard on getting he's a very picky photographer. Let me put it that way, very picky videographer. And so I'm strongly encouraging everyone who can, who doesn't have to have an airplane trip to come over, to come to the meeting, to be in the meeting next month, to see that presentation. It will be available on Zoom, but it won't be the same. And Mike is also a very humorous presenter. So it's a good show when he comes. I'm looking forward to it. And I don't think any of us is 100% certain that it will be presented over Zoom audio and that we won't have any issues. He has done presentations with hybrid meetings in the past. But we here in this club anyway have what may be a unique setup. And so it may not work as well, or it may. It's just, I don't know, throw the dice and we'll see. So hopefully it'll work. But like I said, if you don't have to get in an airplane, or if you do have to get an airplane and there's some other reason as well to come over here and be at the meeting, it would be a really good one to go to. Annual Salt Point Campout, 22nd, 24th of August. Generally, what we'll do is some of us will go up Friday. We'll get campsites, but it's all by reservation now. We'll do, people may or may not be doing any snorkeling and scuba diving. I don't think I'll be doing any scuba diving up there. But I know others are planning to. And it's always a great place just to camp at. Beautiful scenery, and the potluck dinner on Saturday, I should say, is always fun. We'll have a campfire, and like I said, it's just a nice social gathering as well. So it's on the website. Talk to Debbie Driggers, or post on the forum any questions and so forth on that. Unless there's something in the room anyone has a question about, or on Zoom.
Well, I heard that the water system has been reestablished.
It has.
That's correct.
I talked to the park. Yeah, it's back to working again.
Yeah, there was some concern about the water at the campsite being turned off. Debbie called and verified that campsite water is available and back on, so no need to pack water for the weekend. Okay, I think that's about it for that.
Hey, John. I have a comment. I sent an announcement to you and to Oliver. A week from this coming Saturday, about a week and a half, Mbari is having their open house.
What's that date?
Sorry?
What's the date?
July 12th.
Thank you.
Okay.
And seems like I don't see it right here on the website, but if you go to it, I think it's like probably around 10 to maybe 2 or 3, something like that, but it's really good.
Yeah. So Alan Troop just reminded me that Mbari, Monterey Bay Aquariums Research Institute, is going to be having an open house about a week and a half from now. He thinks the time is like 10 to 3 or so. I've been there once before, and it's really interesting to see what they've done. You get to see their equipment and their presentations and things. It's a very cool what they're doing. So if you're at all interested,
Noon to 5.
Debbie was just checking up. Noon to 5 is going to be the hours for Mbari's open house. They have some really big buoys and boats and things, and they're doing a lot of work with remote controlled sensory equipment. So, like I said, it's definitely interesting. That's it for upcoming events. I did want to mention for those in the meeting that also Alan left is putting up a weight belt in the back of the room. So if you're looking to get a weight belt replacement or addition,
It's free.
It's free. So the only cost is you taking it out of the room and putting it into your vehicle. Any dive reports? Anyone been diving in the last month or so? I'm trying to go back to Zoom.
Well, yeah.
I'll do a quick one.
Okay.
So this dive report, I think, has an obligatory potential bone award type of material. So this last Sunday, Reef Check had a dive that was kayak and DPV, and so we launched from Maccabee Beach and went out to the aquarium to do our survey. And so For many of us, this was our first DPV dive with reef check. And so I remember my dive buddy was saying, hey, the slate is, it's going to be like kind of dragging along. And, what do you do about that? I'm like, I don't think that's a problem. And so, famous last words, because on the second dive, we were just starting our DPVs as we got to the bottom. And of course, my pencil, which is attached to the slate, which was, just kind of like dangling, got sucked up into the DPV propeller and disappeared into the nethers. So ocean pollution, for one thing, because, that's plastic and graphite. But also, it meant that I didn't have a pencil to record anything for that survey, which meant, unfortunately, it was urchin sizing. So as Dave here knows, urchin sizing means that, you're just counting urchins and looking at using calipers to measure their size. So I had to take my partner's slate and tell her I lost my pencil, so I'm just only going to count reds and red urchins, that is, and I'll just try to memorize them. So that was a little bit of a lesson in making sure that everything is in trim when you're diving and you don't have dangling bits that get sucked into your DPV propeller.
Was that your own DPV, David?
Yes.
Okay.
So I should know better.
Well, who thought about DPVs? That's something for the DPV class then to consider, is making sure you don't have dangly bits that can get sucked up. Eric? Yeah, we'll leave that alone, folks. We'll keep this a P rate or a G rated meeting. Eric, you want to give your report?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, I did my first reef check surveys last weekend, and so wanted to well, I don't have the full reports, but I just wanted to say I did a reef check at Maccabee on Friday, and then a reef check at Lovers Point on Saturday, and don't have the full information about those. I could write them up and give them to the club, but am excited to have started that journey of being able to do surveys. And on Saturday, I did the DPV training so that I could use the club the Reef Check DPV to do surveys. The Lovers Point one is kind of where they go out to, is about between Lovers Point and Hopkins. So it was a kayak DPV group. And so they require you to have the official PADI DPV or some kind of NAUI PADI training to do it. And I'm looking forward. I'm doing another survey next month and hopefully to do some more surveys before their season ends. And that's what I got. Thanks.
Congratulations on getting the reef check certification.